There's antimony, arsenic, aluminum, selenium, and hydrogen and oxygen and nitrogen and rhenium, and nickel, neodymium, neptunium, germanium, and iron, americium, ruthenium, uranium, europium, zirconium, lutetium, vanadium, and lanthanum, and osmium, and astatine, and radium, and gold, protactinium, and indium, and gallium, and iodine, and thorium, and thulium, and thallium. There's yttrium, ytterbium, actinium, rubidium, and boron, gadolinium, niobium, iridium, and strontium, and silicon, and silver, and samarium, and bismuth, bromine, lithium, beryllium, and barium.
Good afternoon. This is the Homework Set by Mrs. Rogers for Chemistry Students show, and today we're going to be interviewing John Dalton. So viewers, put your hands together for John Dalton. Hello John Dalton, it's so nice to have you on here. As you can see, everyone is very excited to see you. Well, I'm not surprised. So, we have a few questions sent in by the viewers to ask you today. Now, what can you tell me about atoms?
Well, I have 5 main points to my theory. 1. Elements are made of tiny particles called atoms. All atoms that are the same element are identical. The atoms of the same element are different from those any other element. The atoms of different elements can be noticed from one another by their relative weights. Atoms of one element can combine with atoms of other elements to form chemical compounds. A certain compound always has the same number, or types of atoms. 5. Atoms cannot be divided into similar particles nor destroyed in the chemical process. The chemical reaction simply changes the way atoms are grouped together.
Now, this is the question that everyone's been asking. What atoms make up water?
Water! Now see, for many years I measured and recorded the pressure of water vapor, rainfall, wind speed, and temperature. And all the time I thought about the atmosphere and the gases that go to make it up. And that is how I had my great breakthrough. As I said back in 1803, 21st of October, in a paper to the Manchester Library and Philosophical Society, after I discovered philosophicalized air, I was persuaded through my study of weather and water that 1 OZ of hydrogen, the lightest element which I have given an atomic weight of 1, reacts with 8 OZ of dephilosophicated air, which I have given an atomic weight of 8, to form water. So the formula of water must be HO.
So, John, what do other scientists out there think of your theory?
My theory was first referred to in a paper presented before the Manchester Literary and Philosophical Society on the absorption of gases by water and other liquids. In the last section of the paper was the table of atomic weights. My theory was accepted. However, William Higgins claimed priority over me, but we had an agreement, is that it was I that founded the idea that the atoms of different elements are distinguished by differences in weight.
Now, John Dalton, we all know that you're very interested in atoms, but here on the Chemistry Homework Set by Mrs. Rogers show for chemistry students, we want to get up personal. What else interests you aside from atoms?
I have a passion for meteorology, which began in the Lake District where I was born. I love the Lake District. I like climbing as well. I climbed the majestic 300,000-foot Havilland 40 times for pleasure and partly for meteorology. I do love the Lake District. I love observing the weather as well. I'm a bit of a weatherman. It was in fact through these observations that I formed my brilliant theories, interests, and hobbies. I also enjoy cooking, gardening, reading, hiking, genealogy, music. I'm a listener and a performer. I do a lot of choir singing. I love travelling. Me and my wife, Sheila, have spent many years in France, in Champollion. France, a city near Grenoble. I'm a big community guy as well. I'm heavily involved in church work. I love God. I teach adult Sunday classes and singing in the church choirs. I've just started volunteer work, and I plan to continue doing it for 5 years. It's work at a local prison, which is always fun. During my retirement plan, I plan to work as a volunteer at the local hospital. Helping out and volunteering are just hobbies of mine. I am also founding singer in the Bel Cantel Singers, a chamber choir devoted to singing, performing difficult repertoire since 1975.